The first cool car I ever drove in was no doubt my mom's 1960 Beetle. Also the first car I ever bought cash was a Taz. When I started my career with MI Casa, saving up, bit by bit, and then going to this lady in Greenside and giving her this cash and buying this maroon Taz. I bought a car for my birthday once, an old vintage Jag. The car wouldn't start, so I was like, hey. That was a bit of an awkward moment. So I called the guy and I said, come and pick it up. I left it there and I got in the car with somebody else. The car that I've cherished the most was the Toyota Taz that I had. I think that for me was a huge moment. I grew up, I wouldn't say that I didn't grow up with much because what I had was enough, so it was a lot. And my mom worked her ass off to have what we have, so I would never want to disrespect her in that way. But as much as I knew that other people had cars, it didn't really bother me because it wasn't my story, And then I think when I came to Joburg and I was looking for a job and then my whole music career started, I think that moment of like being able to have done it for myself and bought this car and it had, a stick and it was, what do you call when it's tight, the wheel?
Oh,
it didn't have power steering. It didn't have power steering and it had a nice tape, like it was cool, man. Like that for me was a car that I wish I never let it go,
Here we go, auto or manual?
Auto.
German or Japanese?
German.
Oil or lube?
Oil.
What was your first car?
Taz.
Ferrari or Lambo?
Ferrari.
Petrol or diesel?
Diesel.
Lowrider or SUV?
SUV.
Speed or handling?
Handling.
Speed. Suicide doors, gullwing.
What? Gullwing? I don't even know what that is.
Hip-hop or amapiano?
Hip-hop.
Safe or sexy?
Sexy.
What's faster, Uber or taxi?
Uber.
Leather or Alcantara?
Leather.
Racetrack or open road?
Open road.
Who do you want to punch in the face?
Moti.
Driver or passenger?
Driver.
Hot top or convertible?
Convertible.
Nando's or chicken licken?
Nando's.
Hey guys, we have a winner!
Yes! I'm out.
No, come back.
I think the biggest influence in my life with cars, it was Moti. And Duda, actually, funny enough, because Duda, when we started MI Casa, Duda was already an established artist, so in other words, he already had money. And I remember him always pulling up with like a Golf, Golf 5 with dope sound and the pipes, and this was the first time that I actually heard this, had this experience, and I think Mo also was always passionate about Mercs. So I think the biggest influence on my life with regards to Mercedes was Mo. So I think those people have influenced me the most when it comes to cars. Influencing car culture, and you can even see it throughout the history of MI Casa. It's always been about doing stuff that is to some extent relatable to our audience. And that's just on a personal level. I think when I look at my peers, when I look at I can't believe the late, Keenan, AKA, and the impact that he had on car culture. That is passion, and I think when you're influencing from a place of passion, it is able to influence a lot of people. You can't almost unmarry hip-hop and cars. Fortunately for me, I'm not in that scene, but we've tried to bring it in a way that is relatable to our audience. But lifestyle's got so much power around everything. A song is just a song, but if it's got a whole story around it, it then becomes something that can become relatable. So I think it's just culture. Culture is the key word. When you marry cars and culture, it's about the culture around the car and the moment.
You don't say much and I hear it all.
When I look back at the lineage or the line of music videos that we've released and cars, one of them that was dope, which is a really dope scene, is in a song called Your Body. We got a lady by the name of Mona. She jumps out of a taxi and dances as the taxi's moving on the street. It's a really dope scene. Mamela recently, well, not recently, it feels like recently because I love the song so much, but we had a drop top Beetle. Made me think a lot about my mom's old Beetle. Heavenly Scent, actually, we had a cool old, I don't know what car it is, I know it was a Chevy, and I know it was like a pickup truck. It was all black. It was really cool. And then since we are here at Chicano and Tariq, they hooked us up with a really pimping kusheshe, which you can see on the cover of We Made It. It's this one. It's this car right here. It was on the cover of our album. Which is dope. First year varsity, I had this girlfriend who lived in George, and I convinced my friend Brent to take a road trip from Grahamstown to George. I think it's about a 5-hour drive. So we got into this Honda Ballade and we were cruising. We had a great time. And as we arrived, her whole family was waiting outside to welcome us. And I kid you not, man, as we got there, the bonnet started to smoke everywhere. I'm like, it's my first time meeting her parents, and I'm like, good God. And eventually the dad said, nah, just park that thing over there. You can borrow another car. It was embarrassing, guys. Hey, I wish you could feel what I felt there. Yo, it was bad. Touring with MI Casa is, always involves a car of some form or shape, It used to be a lot of H1s, it used to be a lot of V-classes. Although, we once went to Botswana, in Gaborone, we drove in an old Caravella, which had the seats, the tables on top. And I remember we arrived at the gig quite intoxicated, but we weren't driving. But we had a good time. I remember arriving and being like, oh, we have to perform now. I'm laughing because being on the road with MI Casa is just one big laugh. We often get asked, like, how have we stayed together? And I always say that it's because we've teased the earshot of each other. So we are generally laughing from point A to point B. It's always a good vibe, it's always good conversation, it's always dope music. Whoever's got the Spotify on must deliver something interesting. It's been a long time, it's been like 12, 13 years, I think, and I've had so many ups and downs with the band where, like anything, a band is a relationship, so it's a lot of hard work. And every time that I've ever thought about like stopping the band or moving on to another chapter of my life, I'm just like, what about those road trips, man? What about that laughter? What about that friendship? What about the brotherhood? So I think that for me is the biggest influence of Cars personally. It's just the feeling that it gives me. It's a sense of pride that my life has allowed me to experience these type of things.
Dream, search, drive. Cars.co.za.